Good day. Welcome to the 4th episode of WeAmError. If they're not sure, they can definitely have a look at all the other videos. It says the numbers, and if they want to count it all, they can count it. It might be a few numbers to go through before you get to number 4, though. But if you just stick in there, you'll get it. Welcome to WeAmError. I am Crispy, and as always, joined by
Omega.
There we go.
What's up?
It surprises you every time that I throw the microphone to you. Whatever. All right, what we're looking at here today is Fallout 4. Obviously.
Yeah, it's like this should have been done a while back.
Yeah, no. To be honest, everybody has seen pretty much everything about Fallout 4. Yet every video you're going to go and find on Fallout 4, everybody just doesn't want to spoil anything. Yet, like I said, there's just videos all over the internet of Fallout 4, so it's about time we jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, and our video is obviously the one to watch. You know, we're gonna give you all the hard-pressing details, news, and events.
Of course, that's the thing we do. We are the inside men with Bethesda.
Yeah,
we are the inside.
The only inside men.
The only.
We are inside of Bethesda.
We are inside Bethesda. Deep inside. Alright, so what you'll notice is I haven't started this video like all my other ones where I usually go in the menu and play the logos and everything. Mostly because this game's got it takes a while to, it's maybe within like an hour, then the game finally like opens up. But then again, that's a lot better than, say, Skyrim's, which, took a few hours before you actually headed up the mountain, met the guys on top of the mountain, and, had the whole dragon action kick in.
Let's just let our viewers know that I have never played this before.
You've never played any Fallout before?
No, not any Fallout.
And
or none of the Fallout.
I happen to be a big fan of all the Fallouts.
I played Fallout 1.
You played how much of Fallout 1 did you play?
15 minutes?
15 minutes.
Yeah.
I got maybe about 6 or 7 hours in 1 and 2.
But it was old.
Yeah, it's
difficult to play now. The turn-based makes it quite difficult.
But you know what? While playing this, I was actually really tempted to go back and play those old ones just to get that pure RPG feel. Because if anybody has anything to say about this game is that it's not really that much of an RPG anymore. It's very sad because you can't really role-play any of the character than the one you're kind of presented with in the beginning. The character you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be this mother-father that, are very, very worried about their child being kidnapped, and your basic mission is to go in and find your kid. Now, you can't really exactly play an asshole when you have this as a quest, and the dialogue options really reflect this. The most mean thing you can really do is be sarcastic, and that's about as far as it really goes.
But I mean, they took out some of the RPG elements and replaced it with some good old first-person shooter.
That's the big difference. Is this is actually a very, very competent shooter right now. You feel the weight of every gun. You feel the difference between every gun. And like I mentioned in previous podcasts of ours, the modding system, although not as extensive as people were led to believe, is still functional. It still works very well. It still gives you something additional to strive for. You want to get that new gun. You want to. Continuously wants you to progress in the game, and that's something that's kind of brilliant with all Bethesda games. It's even if you just walk in a random direction, you kind of feel like you're progressing, because you feel like you get XP for every location you locate. There's some enemy that you have maybe not seen before in every one of those buildings, and definitely a story to find in every one of those buildings. You just follow any of the computers that surprisingly still work after 200 years. You find out what's happened either within the last 200 years in that place or just before the bombs fell. So if you don't know the story of Fallout, it's the year 2070, 2770.
Future.
It's the future. It's far in the distant future. And in the year 2070, all the world was pretty much nuked by everybody. And some people survived in underground vaults and, luckily got out unscathed. Well, most of the time out of the vaults.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to listen to what you're saying now, because for me this is like the first time I'm actually seeing the game.
Yeah.
Other than the gameplay stuff they showed at E3 and stuff. So.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do with the playthrough I was doing. I wasn't going for any of the missions. I really wanted to just show you what a 30-minute just pissing about in the Commonwealth is.
So how far in the game are you now?
This is maybe like an hour or two in. Like I said, I just basically finished the main stuff at the beginning of the game, and I just went into the open wild world with a few guns I had on me.
So you say the beginning is not as long as Skyrim?
Not at all.
Something about Skyrim for me. Like I know, obviously a lot of people play that game over and over again. Mm-hmm. For me, it's difficult because just to get past that starting point,
Yeah. No, I usually enjoy the start of a Oblivion of a Skyrim game because your character is the first time he feels like a barbarian. He doesn't have this badass mythical sword he got from a god, yet, and he doesn't have the shield given to him by a god yet. So he's basically just got this iron sword.
He's a soldier.
Yeah, he's a shitty Viking because he's not even wearing armor yet. It's just literally like fucking hide and shit.
But yeah, this game not as pretty as other games.
No, not at all. But even still, while playing it, I was still captivated by a few of the scenes. That's one thing that the game definitely captures is atmosphere, big time. It's a very atmospheric game. You'll go from this optimistic feeling when you look out onto the Commonwealth of a wealth of opportunities ahead of you, and the second you delve into a dungeon, you start checking your ammo and start ensuring that you can actually make it to the end of the dungeon. It's a very difficult game compared to actually Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, both pretty difficult games, but this one quite tricky as well. But that said, if you actually play with a high difficulty, if you play on easy, you're gonna have a very boring time in this game.
Yeah. So the main reason I didn't really like the previous Fallouts, or more like New Vegas and Fallout 3, is everything looks the same.
Yeah.
It's just this monotone wasteland.
No.
Really boring. You walk a lot.
I totally understand that. If you don't know the Fallout universe, if you don't really know what they usually do in a Fallout game, with a world of opportunities and like conversations that you can have with like random everybody there and have like a large a conversation with anybody. That's sort of what Fallout was all about. It wasn't about the world necessarily as much as the people in the world. And that's something that 1 and 2 definitely does very well. The conversations you can have with the people, the routes and options you have in that game is immense. Where this one, that's the only part it really falls down at. Just the fact that it's not really so much an RPG anymore. It's like every conversation you have with anybody, you're supposed to actually be this goody two-shoes. You're supposed to be a good guy.
The character you play is very linear.
Exactly. The character is very linear.
There's a lot to do, it's a huge RPG.
It's a huge RPG.
The character is very linear. Very linear.
Exactly. The best way I heard Witcher 3 described was it's an RPG in the sense of you role-play Geralt.
Yeah.
Just that one character. It's not a role-playing game in the sense of you make a character and you role-play that character. You play as Geralt, but you role-play as Geralt. That's perfectly fine. That's what role-playing is. And after playing a game like Witcher 3, I felt like that's perhaps a better way of doing it than, giving us all this, options and telling us we can do literally anything in the game but then there's only two options, good or bad.
Yeah.
You know, there's no middle road. Like I said, I'm usually the parts I'm usually disappointed in games is when I think a game when I give a game too much credit. When I give a game far too much credit for what it's worth. For instance, there was a part in Diablo 3 where you meet the Zoltan cool dude in the desert, and you fight with him for a while, and you gather all his body parts together, and then at a part he says, "Now you're gonna have to. Are you gonna join me, or are you gonna, continue fighting with the angels?" And then I thought, oh, it would be so fun if, as this witch doctor of mine, I can choose to, fuck the heavens, fuck the hells, I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna go in for the gold, it's all just me.
Yeah.
But then,
No,
that's not how...
It's Diablo.
That's not how Diablo role plays. But that's just what I mean,
Yeah.
And this game is a lot of it. A lot of... I think the story is going to go in a certain way, or the risks or the rewards are going to change based on the way I play it, or the way I choose things. Not so much in this.
Did you finish the main story?
Of Fallout 4,
Yeah.
yes. I finished the main story. At which point I was even more disappointed with the game. It sounds like I'm saying just bad things, and it is just bad things I'm saying, but the rest of the stuff I can say is, this game's fucking awesome.
Like we said, like, the character is very linear, but it makes up for that with the combat.
Pretty much. The combat is excellent.
Well, that's what I think.
Yeah, no, the combat is excellent in this installment of Fallout 4. Really feels like a solid shooter. Your VAT system actually feels effective compared to 3 and 4 of 3 in New Vegas, where it was really just a crapshoot. Where in this they kind of give you a little bit of leeway with the numbers, I think. Now, the VAT system, by the way, if nobody knows what that is every time the screen goes like all slow-mo-y and selects like the body parts of the enemy, that's going into VATs, and you choose which body part you want to hit, and it gives you a total of your chances of hitting that body part.
I think most people
probably know that, but
everybody except me.
yeah, anybody that's never played a Fallout game.
Yeah.
You don't. This is gonna be one of the few parts you see actually me having a conversation with anybody in the game. Now, it only gives you those four options to have a conversation with. The bottom one is the nice way of saying it. The right way is like an asshole-y type of thing. Left is just neutral, and then up is usually give me more. Give me more information, or give me more money.
But morals is something that most games get wrong.
It's always. That's the thing, though. The Fallout 1 and 2 games, not at all that problem.
Yeah.
That game was, but they had a lot more, not necessarily to work with. They had less to work with, and that's why they could actually go into that much more detail with their
game. It's the same with Baldur's
story.
Gate and all the.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's how those games. That's what we had at the end of at the turning of the century. We had to make a choice with the games. We had to either just improve the graphics and the hardware that the games are going to run on, which incidentally is what we went for, or we start focusing on writing the story first and then making the game around the story.
Yeah.
Which was exactly how those games were made. The Baldur's Gates, the Fallouts, the whole Fallout game came because they were making a Wasteland. The game Wasteland was originally made by the people from Fallout, and they couldn't get the licensing back for Fallout, or like a Wasteland 2 game, or like a proper sequel to a Wasteland game, so they made their own. They made their own system with GURPS, with the GURPS role-playing system, and...
Generic Universal Role-Playing System, for those who don't know it.
Yeah.
Check out the rules, it's a lot of numbers.
It's a lot of numbers. In which case, they actually found out that they couldn't get the licensing for the GURPS system either, so they designed the special system, which is still used today.
Interesting fact right there.
Interesting facts. That's what we're all about. So, we're going to get on to our main thing, or is there something else you wanted to say about Fallout 4?
This is the Fallout after Fallout 3.
Yes. Actually, no, it's not. It was in New Vegas as well.
I still need to play it, I really want to.
Yeah.
I've been My list of games I need to play is like building up like crazy, but I really want to start playing this.
If you're gonna play a Fallout game, it's easy to play Fallout 4. If you've never played any of the Fallout games, it's easy to pick up Fallout 4 and enjoy yourself fully. However, you're not gonna really understand what Fallout is all about until you play like at least New Vegas. If you play New Vegas, you're gonna get what the original developers of Fallout 2 had in mind for a sequel. They had a sequel idea of Van Buren was the sequel idea they had for Fallout 3, but Bethesda got the rights, blah blah blah, long story, go read the Wikipedia page. And then, but at some point they got the right to actually make a new Fallout game as long as they make it on that engine, the Fallout 3 engine, or the engine that they use for all their fucking games. And they made Fallout New Vegas. So it's got a very, very cohesive, very good story, very, very non-linear story. You can actually RPG the piss out of New Vegas, which is fucking awesome. Like, it's a very good RPG game.
I just saw a video of Fallout 1 where a guy finished the game with a character that was like really stupid.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty funny. Type that into Google, you'll have yourself a laugh.
That's kind of what I mean, you know, you can finish those games.
And it was really well done. I mean, that game is old as fuck.
It's very
And it's
well
not just
done.
like the stuff your character says, but their responses is really awesome.
Exactly. You can have these very interesting conversations with many of the great characters that Fallout has.
That was like really impressive when I saw that for the first time.
I mean, the big thing that Fallout 3 lost was the fact that they kind of lost the idea of having very, very colorful characters. And Fallout New Vegas definitely has a lot of colorful characters because it's the original developers. But Fallout 1 and 2, not the most insane motherfuckers you'll ever meet in a game.
And in Fallout 4?
Not particularly. You have about 13 different companions you can have in this game, which I'd say is excessive as fuck, because it takes me pretty much an entire playthrough of the main story to get the loyalty complete with any of the companions thus far. I guess if you play better, you can probably do better, but you know, I just literally played the game.
So our next video is going to be Witcher 3.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you wanted to compare the two games, because they're both released this year, both RPGs, but we'll get to that when we do the Witcher video. But right now we made a little list.
Yeah, we can probably get through at least half
It's the end of the year almost.
Yep.
And we made a top 10 worst and best list.
Yep.
So
hope you guys enjoy this one. We haven't put any amount of time into this.
Some of the games we cheated a little bit with. Some of them were actually released maybe like last year November. But seeing as this is our first year of videos, our first top 10 list, we cheated a little bit.
Yeah, we wanted to make it special.
Yeah.
So we made it 14 months instead of the average 12 of a year.
So this is the most important list in your life.
Pretty much.
Get ready for it.
Exactly.
Are you ready for it?
I hope you're seated. I hope you got yourself strapped down.
Got some nice lotion and toilet paper, because
This
it's
is gonna get
crazy. Okay, so we're gonna start with the top 10 worst games.
This is my favorite list.
Okay, so I'll start off with number 10.
Because this is your game.
Yeah. Okay, let's just say a lot of these games, obviously, I didn't play.
Yeah.
And a lot of the games, most of the games you played. But let's start with top 10 for the worst games. And this game was really difficult for me to put to decide on worst or best games.
All right, you're gonna have to justify why it would happen to be on the worst side, because this was really on the verge. Of being
Okay, let's just say the game is Soma, and I'm a big fan of. I mean, we did the game in one of the videos.
we did Soma.
I'm a big fan of fictional games, all their games. Amnesia, I love. The big problem I had with Soma, I mean, the storyline is awesome. That's one thing fictional games know how to do, is write a story, and we talked about the game in the previous video.
Of all the reviews I've seen of the game, that's the one thing they praise excessively.
The game looks amazing compared to Amnesia and stuff. There's only one problem I have with the game, and it kind of ruined the game for me, is the combat. Not that you have any combat, but the monsters gets fucking annoying. I mean, there was times where I was waiting for a monster to just pass me, where I sat in front of my computer, scrolling through 9CAG, waiting for the monster to pass. Because,
it's a game you didn't actively play, and
that just breaks like the immersion, because you're between the scenes where you fight find these monsters. You're really immersed in this game. It's fucking crazy. And then you get this monster, and then you just have a lot of sneaking around and waiting and dying, and it gets annoying.
The thing is, all of frictional games have been like this.
Yeah.
Have had the whole, this is like a part you get story, and this is going to be a part where you're going to run around from
and which
monsters.
was fine with Amnesia 1. I think in the second Amnesia they did it better because the combat, there were less combat scenes and they were a bit quicker. The enemies were dumber, it was easier to avoid them, which I actually liked.
Mm-hmm.
If you play 2 games where you don't have any weapons, by the third game you're going to get kind of bored of that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the whole problem I had with Soma, was just the reason I didn't feel like I wanted to pick it up. I wasn't a fan in the first place of the way they kind of handled that in the first place, in the Amnesia games.
For me, that was awesome, because...
It was fun. No. It's different and everything. Yeah. But I was just getting bored by about halfway through Amnesia, any one of the 2, just because it was the same. It was the same every time. You avoid them, you throw maybe a can or something, you avoid them, you throw maybe a can or something, you avoid them. That's exactly how it went. And Soma looked like it was pretty much the same.
Yeah, it is.
So
but like with Amnesia, those combat encounters was scary.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a lot of tension. And that's lost in Soma. When that monster, when you see him the first time, obviously you're fucking scared as fuck.
Yeah.
But then when you saw him, okay, now I know what he looks like. He's standing right there. I'm just gonna wait here for 5 minutes, and then he walks like fucking 2 steps.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm gonna go outside, and then he kills you. You do it again. Wait half an hour.
It's the main problem I had with Aliens. It would have literally been one of the greatest games I've ever played in my life. Would have been Aliens, but just the fact that
Alien Isolation.
Alien Isolation. Just the fact that
it makes the gameplay feel just like so long, dragged out.
Exactly. It feels like the actual game feels like only 3 hours long, but you've been playing for like 8.
Yeah, because it takes you like 3 hours to move from one room to another.
Exactly, but you still feel like you've only gotten about 3 hours worth of entertainment. No, I completely understand that. All right.
But it was difficult too. Because it's a good game. I would recommend that you play it. The story is amazing.
How much,
other than the combat, it's really a fun game.
How much lower would have this game gotten on the list of worst games if the story wasn't up to snuff, though?
No, then it would be much lower.
Like 5th, like maybe 4th even. Yeah.
No, the story definitely makes up for everything.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
And there was some really interesting scare scenes or whatever, which were nice. And the graphics was pretty.
It was pretty. Yeah. It was a pretty game.
So let's move on to the next one.
Mad Max.
Yeah.
Most generic sandbox that has ever been sandboxed.
Which is unfortunate because I was quite excited about the game.
Yeah.
But as soon as we saw the gameplay videos, was immediately just, wow, this game just looks so generic.
It's the most generic that's ever been generic.
But I mean, when I heard about the game, I was skeptical. Because it's a movie game. Not a lot of movie games are good.
No, they aren't.
They're generally very generic.
The thing is, I saw the early videos of the game, and I was, at first, when I first heard about the game, I was slightly excited. They were trying to do sort of the same type of thing that the movie was trying to do. At least that's what they were trying to, utilize as, advertisement fodder, was the fact that, it's Mad Max, the movie was so cool.
Yeah.
Check the game out, it's also so cool. So
that sounds like a 90s TV advert.
All adverts sound like 90s TV adverts. Except Nando's.
But like the idea of a Mad Max game, they could have made such a cool game.
It could have been awesome.
Yeah.
But the second I actually found out it's going to be a sandbox, I was immediately, fuck it, I'm done. Every time they mention the word sandbox, and it's not a company that specifically actually makes sandbox games, then I'm very skeptical. It's very difficult for a company to actually get into the sandbox making world.
Yeah.
One of the very few cases where it's actually been a success, and this is one of the very few cases, is the Saints Row series. And they didn't have it easy at all.
Yeah.
The first Saints Row came out and was just successful because it was only one of the only games you can get on your Xbox 360. And then when the second one came out, they kind of got a little bit clever and said, we can't do the same thing as GTA and we can't do the same thing as number one, so we're just going to go GTA quirky. That's just what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So, completely lost what my point was with the whole conversation.
It's difficult to make a good sandbox game if you're not fucking Bethesda
Yeah, if you're not Bethesda
or
and
Rockstar.
The big difference is this was the company that. Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of another game which was also kind of shitty. Was the Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, but that was last year, so it doesn't.
That was no shit. But this game really reminded me a lot of why I was pissed off at Shadow of Mordor. It could have had like some of the best combat mechanics ever, but at some point the similarities between other sandbox games just kept, very muddled between the two games. For instance, I said that Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor.
They're actually both very similar. Both this sandbox game with the Batman mechanics.
Mechanics. And that's the big problem with the Shadow of Mordor is pretty much it's Batman.
Yeah.
It's Batman in Lord of the Rings.
But the game was boring because they gave you these things to do in the world, but you didn't really want to do with them.
No, you don't want to do collectibles.
Yeah.
You want to go into dungeons, and I'm pointing towards the screen at the moment. Go into dungeons and explore. And see the world for what it is, not just mash the same buttons the whole time.
Yeah. The game was very repetitive.
Extremely.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one there, number 8.
Number 8. I've played literally about 30 to 60 minutes of this game, and I'm safe in the fact that it's number 8 on my number 8 on the worst list. I Am Bread.
So did did the game release this year?
Yes, it released this year. It was the same people that made the game Surgeon Simulator. And that game had so much quirkiness, so much...
Yeah, that's quite disappointing to hear. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's very sad because, like I said, Surgeon Simulator...
Yeah, that was great.
Very
original game.
Most original game ever. I Am Bread, on the other hand, felt like the same company at the same time they were thinking of making the game... the simulator one, just making this as well. If you get what I mean, it seems like the first game a company has ever made.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like a company
that's made a successful,
extremely successful
original game. Yeah,
original indie game.
It seems just like a ironic game to make.
Yeah, it's pretty much just funny.
With the success of Goat Simulator, I guess.
Pretty much. That's the.
But Goat Simulator was original.
These ironic games need to fucking stop because it's really fucking annoying.
I mean, I'm happy with Goat Simulator. That was fine because that was one of the first, and it's pretty funny to watch some Goat Simulator stuff on YouTube.
Irony is only acceptable if it happens accidentally. You can't just make irony. That's just no, unless you're a smith. But that's like not even possible. You can't be a smith.
Who's a smith?
Like a weaponsmith. It's the only person that can make irony.
I really didn't get the joke there.
I know you didn't.
Referring to some important guy that makes ironic stuff.
No, Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
No. But that's just part of this. I Am Bread is just part of the whole ironic games movement.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, I didn't play it. You played it.
It's stupid.
What do you do in the game?
You're a piece of bread, and you utilize four different buttons to stick any given corner of the bread to a surface. And your mission is to walk from one part of the kitchen to another part of the kitchen. First time I saw the videos of the game, I was like, oh, this could actually be intriguing.
Yeah.
After playing about the same 3 levels 3 times. Not the same, it was just, the levels were very same. It was the same fucking thing. You're doing the same fucking thing. And the controls are terrible.
So it's actually a lot like Octodad?
Yeah.
But Octodad was quite fun.
Octodad lost its charm very quickly.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't a big game.
No, well, to be honest, that game had like a shitload of exposure.
It went, yeah.
It
started off
viral.
as a really small indie
Yeah,
thing.
no, it was a total indie game,
Yeah.
which just went technically, not technically, but sort of just went viral.
Oh, it did, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so next game, number 7. This is just a stupid game.
Angry Birds 2. This is just one of those cash cows, and they deserve to be
Obviously.
punished in one way or another. Where you basically pay for literally going and playing a mission, which is just weird. It's just your next mission you're gonna pay money for. Your next level.
Did you play Angry Birds 2?
Yes, I played Angry Birds 2.
Why?
Because it was the fucking sequel to Angry Birds 1. Why wouldn't I not play it?
I was never a big fan of Angry Birds.
Angry Birds was fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, not much to say. Angry Birds 2.
It's a cash cow.
Yeah, why was that game even made?
Yeah. Why was it so terribly made when the first one was such a innovator in the face of free games?
Was it though?
Yes, it was. It was a free fucking game. It was free to get on Android. It was free. All the levels were there.
Yeah, but then they discovered that, whoa, mobile gaming can actually make us like millions of dollars.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
Right, we can continue this list and our final list on the next part. Join us then. And welcome back. We're on to our second game, and as mentioned, it's going to be Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. And certainly I certainly wish I had a lot more to say about The Witcher, but unfortunately I wasn't a fan of Witcher 1 or 2 that much.
I played Witcher 1 for quite a while, and then just never played any Witcher again.
It's unfortunate. These games were just and still. It's very famous for being very difficult games to get into. And not much has changed for Witcher 3. I'm definitely going to say that. It's a far more challenging, far deeper world than any of their previous ones. Especially because they made it open world now. When I get in, you'll see the map and so forth. It's not necessarily one big, expansive, single map. It's more 4 regions that they gave you. As you can see, there's quite a few graphics settings in this game.
Nice.
Because this game, for one thing, has always been big time on graphics. This is pretty cool. Every time you quit the game and come back in, it gives you a short recap.
Oh yeah, I like it when games do that.
Yeah, no,
like with Pokemon.
And this game is actually very good where it is concerned. It actually keeps the videos quite up to date.
Yeah.
Every time I quit, I've not heard the same thing twice.
The same was with Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Oh yeah?
Also, they give you a nice, like, a small cinematic.
I'm also going to try not to follow the main story here. And first off, I'm going to have to apologize for these. You're going to see this maybe about 3 other times in the game. I've experienced a little bit of a glitch. Every time I try to record the game, they get these big time freezes. But it's only when I record the game, surprisingly. As you can see,
games don't like being recorded, man.
No, as you'll see, like the rest of the game, no problem, runs like perfectly. But I just get these random freezes now and then. But like I said, only when I record. So, but I still wanted to show the game at least. But if you really have that much of a big problem with it and don't want to hear the rest of the epic fucking lists, then feel free to fuck off.
That turned very dark very quickly. Yeah. Hey man, it's just a few freezes every now and then. No one's gonna judge you.
They're definitely gonna.
Yeah, okay, well, it is the internet.
It is the internet. It is Judge City there. It's like the
church.
It's like the church of the devil, maybe. But still a lot of rules.
Yeah.
Anyway, one thing I definitely do appreciate, this is very deep with the conversations. Every conversation you have where everybody has these cinematic viewpoints and, you know, fully voiced everything. But the big fucking problem I have with this is Geralt is a bit of a very annoying, very boring main character to play as. You'll hear every time he opens his fucking mouth, it's at the same goddamn fucking tone the whole fucking game through. It's like never excited, never sad. It's always, have you seen my wife? Have you seen this lady? I'm looking for somebody else.
I played a D&D game a few years back, and the DM was really into The Witcher, and he based the game on The Witcher, which was really weird for me because I was just so shocked that somebody liked The Witcher that much that he made a D&D game of it.
Oh no, I'm gonna certainly say that Witcher has its fans, and big time fans. There's people that fell in love with this game from the first one. The only big problem I had with this game is just it's very weird.
It is very weird, yeah.
It's very weird. All the mythology, all the characters are very weird. None of it's really like it's in the same vein as your classic RPG fantasy.
Generic fantasy, yeah.
Generic fantasy, which I love. But
which is quite funny because out of all the people I know that's big fans of fantasy, you're the one that's actually the most opposed to generic fantasy. When we play D&D, you always want to play a world that's not Lord of the Rings.
When I play a game, I want to play generic fantasy. I like generic fantasy in games. When I make my own stories in the D&D, I still sort of keep it slightly...
Yeah, it's still generic, but you out of all the DMs I know, you're the one that strays the furthest.
Yeah, I never use like any of their modules or anything like that. No.
And you're one of the few that likes to include the Oriental stuff, like the ninjas and...
Exactly, I actually think that...
And guns as well.
Yeah. It's just that just adds a lot more interesting concepts in the game. I don't necessarily want to keep my games strictly to this sort. You know, what I wanna do is create like a world for my characters to live in, you know. Anyway, let's get on to our top 10 list. We finished off with Angry Birds 2.
Maybe before we start with that again.
Alright.
What do you really like about the game? Because I know there's a few things that you liked about the game.
It's pretty. It's pretty as fuck. If you want to find like the lore in the game, you can actually find any of it anywhere. You know, there's a lot of lore. There's a lot of denseness in the game. It's very difficult to actually get through all that, but you know, once you actually are familiar
Stinks of piss and vodka.
Yep. So he's actually trying to figure out who burnt down the blacksmith's house.
Sounds like my Friday nights.
Yep. And you get this witcher sense, which give you like these red clues.
I haven't played this game as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to, but I have seen a lot of it.
Yeah. The big thing, like I said, is just the people who made this game did their fucking job. Like pros. I've not... every time you want to switch between your controller and your keyboard, it's literally just picking up either one of the two. You don't need to go into like a console. And that's just weird that you see a game just so well oiled, just so well made. It's just they actually made it very difficult for you actually to get money in the game, but they actually sort of like really balanced it out very well. So you actually have just not enough money to get the greatest thing every time, but just enough so you can actually just go finish a quick mission and get back there and get enough gold. All of it has so much detail. The whole game has so much detail to it. For instance, I explained to you that I thought I was following the main story for about 2 or 3 hours in the game, but it turns out I was just doing some next side mission that was just getting very intriguing. So there's a lot of stuff that actually gets, a lot of detail. There's a lot of detail in the game.
That's what I love also about, that's something you don't see that much. Like, I saw that a lot in old games like Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter. You'll just find a random dungeon, and you'll be busy with that dungeon for like 3 hours. Nothing to do with the storyline, the main story. Just the side quests are... You get your small side quests and you get actually like big side quests.
In this one, even the small side quests felt like at least a bigger quest than compared to, like, say, any other, to be honest, any other RPGs, where side quests, go fetch this, go take it there. I've not even found any of those missions yet. Just go fetch this, go take it here.
Yeah. Collect X of Y.
Yeah, except sometimes when it's actually needed for instance, you might need to make a lure, to actually get a monster. Then you have to actually go and fetch a specific thing and take it to a specific other place. but you get what I mean. There's not like this just generic missions. It's not all just generic missions.
Okay, getting back to the list.
Alright, let's get back to the list. Number 6.
Last one was number 7, Angry Birds 2. Now we're moving to number 6 of the worst games of this year.
We're on to Trove.
I'm not sure if a lot of people know this game.
Yeah.
It's a free-to-play MMO, available on Steam. We played it a while back, and it's just...
The main reason I'm going to say I was pissed about this game is just the fact that there's a lot of these games trying to get out now. And this one just seemed like the pinnacle of those types of games.
I was actually quite excited for this game. It looked kind of cool.
It looked like an MMO Minecraft,
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I mean, all of these games are trying to be...
there's a lot of MMO Minecrafts now.
Yeah, they're all just trying to be the MMO Minecraft.
Yeah.
By adding in these a shitload of RPG mechanics into
Or
a game.
first-person shooters.
Yeah, or first-person shooters. And it's just, this game was just the pinnacle for me. It's just like, this is as bad as it's kind of get, I guess.
And yeah, I was quite excited. And
Yeah.
it was just wholly disappointing. It was
So
just
bland. Just so
MMO,
bland.
yeah. This could have been a cool game. They could have done some cool stuff with it.
There's very few times I'm going to say that MMOs really blew me away, and this is definitely not, obviously, not one of them.
Yeah.
But I'd say like a game, for instance, like Spiral Knights was one of the games I had a lot of faith in. You know, I really wanted that game to actually be a big MMO, because it was like this very small developer, very small everything, but it surprisingly caught on very quickly. And but at the end of the day, I quit playing the game because it was just so fucking buggy.
Which was weird, because I did experience bugs, but not as many as you did.
I had a lot of bugs in that game.
That game was cool. I'm disappointed that I didn't play it as much.
But that's just the as good as those types of games, I guess, are ever going to get. You know, you don't have the depth and the complexity of, say, a WoW game, like a World of Warcraft.
WoW, I've never heard anybody call it that.
I just did.
It's like the new Wrestling Federation.
Yeah, the
World of Wrestling.
World of Wrestling is just for nerds. It's just the most nerdy nerds.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just they don't have that depth, and I think we need to have that basic system for a game. You can't really try and make it as in depth as, say, World of Warcraft, and I think Trove perhaps tried to do that.
Yeah.
Where a game like Spiral Knights just wanted to give you a game that was fun.
It was a lot more arcade-like.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to number 5.
Number 5. This is gonna be one of the few that everybody knows on this list. Order 1886.
Yeah. It released early, like beginning of this year.
If you weren't a cynic about the games industry, you better be a fucking cynic after this one released.
Yeah.
Everything hinged on this single game. Everything.
Things have improved, though. I mean, now we've got The Witcher, which is way better.
Of course.
But we also have another game which you'll see on the list a little bit later.
It might have happened more than 3 or 4 times, the freezes. I'm really sorry about that. I really am going to have to apologize multiple times for that. Anyway, just...
Gives us more time to talk about the amazing list of importance.
Yes. So Order 1886, like I said, just...
Not much to say. I mean, everybody knows why this is a bad game.
It's just terrible because it's just like 4 hours long. It's one of the games that took forever to fucking develop, was hyped up to fucking ass. I'm pretty sure there's more ad time for this game than there is actual fucking game time of this game. So that's just, they can go fuck themselves. It might be as pretty as a painting, but that doesn't excuse them for not actually making a fucking game.
Yeah.
Why didn't they make a game? There's 2 boss fights in the game, and both of them are the same.
Yeah, I think
fight
they
the
just
same
said,
werewolf.
you know what? I mean, this is one of the early next-gen games. They just said, well, this is a next-gen game, people will play it.
No, this is going to be a massive franchise, everybody's going to buy the sequel. That's exactly what people think these days when it comes to making a new game. It's fucking bullshit. Stop making sequels. Make a game now, and if you like it afterwards, then make a sequel. Don't make a sequel first and then try and make the first game.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
We see it in a lot of movies as well, though.
Pretty much. All of the Hunger Game knockoffs, exactly the same.
I mean, but that's a book.
No, I mean like Scorch, the Maze Runner movie.
And there's now talks about more. I think there's talk about more Hunger Games and Twilight.
Not even surprised. Not even surprised. They made way too much money.
Yeah.
Way too much money for people to just forget about how much money they made. We're gonna get like in 10 years a remake of Twilight anyway.
Yeah, probably.
Within the next 10 years.
Next year, man.
Within the next 10 years, there's gonna be a remake of the entire Twilight series. And it's gonna be trying to do a more darker, serious story. There, I just called it.
Yeah. We should make that. We're gonna be fucking rich, man.
No, dude. It's too soon. It's too soon.
I doubt it.
I think it's too soon.
There's a lot of screaming teenagers that would fucking eat that shit up.
And then again, I think you like take any of the hot dudes.
Justin Bieber, main character.
I don't think he's like one of the hot dudes. Is he considered one of the hot dudes?
Justin Bieber, of course.
Is he really considered?
He's like the richest artist ever.
Second to Michael Jackson. I think he's still the richest, even though he's dead.
I'm not sure.
I think he's...
I think Justin Bieber is the highest paid artist ever.
Not surprised.
And why? Because he's a hot dude.
I'm not sure even if he's considered like the hot dude anymore. I don't keep up with like
The hot dudes.
no the teenage
Yeah.
dude top 10 dude list.
We should watch. I have like a lot of. You can watch the new one now. It's in my history.
It's fucking forever, right?
I've got like a collection of Teen Magazine.
Teen Magazine.
Yeah.
Is there actually a magazine called Teen Magazine?
Yeah.
I thought they
I
stopped.
don't really have it though. No, but I don't know if it still exists. I know there was one.
There was a Teen Magazine.
Yeah.
I just...
I'm pretty sure there's still one. Teen.com. Don't Google Teen.com.
That sounds like definitely a pedophile site. That's definitely a pedophile site. That's definitely not somewhere that you can go and purchase teenage clothing or
Yeah.
anything like that. Well, then again, pedophiles probably do purchase
Let's
teenage
stop talking
clothing.
about pedophiles.
Alright, 1880-86 is a terrible game.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Next one, I have to disagree with you a little bit.
Alright.
We've got Ronin, which I wouldn't say is a good game, but it's definitely not one of the worst games I've played. I enjoyed it for a little while. Interesting concept. It could have been done better.
It was an interesting concept for 2 minutes, and then they stopped trying to make it an interesting game. It was 2 minutes, and then you just figured out that whole the combat system, and then the puzzles just started repeating. It's just the same.
I will agree with you on that. It got annoying after a while.
It's a very repetitive, very annoying game. It's just every time I got angry that I lost, not because I might have, just completely screwed up my method of doing it, just something went different in the variable of the puzzle. And that happened so many times that it's just fuck that game.
I also said the controls weren't great.
No, the controls were
the
terrible.
system they made.
I was a big fan of the game. What was it? What was this game's name? Gunpoint? It was a very similar system to that. And Gunpoint was actually a very fun game. And I was hoping that Ronin was going to be in the same vein as that. But instead of actually being like a little bit more of a sneaky game, it tried to be more of like a combat-y game. Alright.
Next up, we got Tales of the Borderlands. Tales from the Borderlands, sorry.
Tales from the
I didn't
Borderlands.
play it. I'm never planning on playing any of those.
No.
Oh,
See, the
the
Telltale
Borderlands.
games have a very special place in my heart. It's one of the very few games that actually made me fucking cry at the end. Was still gonna be the Walking Dead game. The first one especially. The second one was very good as well. Guys of the not Guys of the Wolf. The Wolf one.
Among Us.
Wolf Among Us.
What did you say?
The Guys of the Wolf, which is also a game which is fucking terrible. It's not even in the same vein. But anyway, the Wolf game was fucking awesome. It was just freaking awesome to the max. And then they brought out the Game of the Thrones game.
Game of the Thrones.
And that wasn't so good. It was a little bit boring. But then Tales of the Borderlands came around, and it's just like they fucking gave up. I don't know why. They just seem to not want to tell me a very interesting story anymore, and they can go fuck themselves.
Well, I still need to play Minecraft of the story mode, which I really want to play. That actually looks kind of fun.
Yeah, let me know how that is, because I'm really starting to lose faith in the whole Telltale
I think I'll do that for our next
system.
atrocity.
I still have a
Oh, sorry. WeAmError, not atrocity. Yeah, go on.
I have a lot of faith in the Telltale
Yeah.
games because I love the system. I love the way the stories pan out every time. It might not necessarily be different every time, but it certainly has.
They got a good recipe.
They got a very good recipe, and as long as they can actually keep me entertained with very interesting stories, that's good. And just Borderlands was just fucking terrible, just to the point where I immediately forgot what happened in the first episode immediately after playing the first episode.
What didn't you like about the game though? Was it the story, or was it just because it was Borderlands?
Probably just because it was Borderlands. They don't need to try and make a story out of fucking everything. That's just stupid.
Well, I mean, they made a story out of Minecraft.
That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I mean. I'm really pissed off about the Minecraft game. It's probably not going to be terrible, but I am pissed off at the fact that they try to make
Yeah.
a story out of everything. But what are they?
They
really
can actually
gonna
make
do?
a story out of something that has a story.
Yeah. Like, not a Minecraft one.
Yeah.
Not a Borderlands one. Because what's the fucking story with the Borderlands? What's the story with the Borderlands?
Well, I haven't played it in a fucking long time. I
I've
never followed the story.
I've played.
But I know there was a company,
Mhm.
and you were on a planet,
Mhm.
and there were funny characters that were just annoying.
Such characters.
That's the whole Borderlands thing. They've got like eccentric characters.
But then again, I do actually hate Borderlands in general. So.
Yeah, me too.
All right. On to second worst game of the year.
Yeah. This was just a blatant cash grab.
As much as it can get.
Warhammer Quest.
Yep. The
We did a video on that as well. Our first one, I think.
The game that sells you half of the game for a full price, and then the other half for the rest of the price. Which is also full price, I'd like to mention. You buy this game twice just to get more than 3 fucking characters in the game. 4 characters in the game. Of the possible 11.
Yeah. It's a shame that the Games Workshop games they really went south in the past few year.
I mean, what are the Armageddon? Wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It was a really fun game. It was a really effective turn-based,
Second turn-based strategy.
Exactly. It was just perfect in that sense. It was just perfect where it had to be, and any of these games could actually be perfect in the way they want to be. Especially the easy ones to make, like the Warhammer Quest.
Yeah.
And just because the fact that they fucking charge you twice, I can go fuck themselves.
They really went into the mobile thing though.
It doesn't matter.
But that's why they do it, because they want to make money.
So scary after all.
It still doesn't matter. It's not an excuse.
It's not an excuse, you're right.
For some reason, these companies try and continuously tell us, oh no, we gotta do it for the money. It's the money. It's not an excuse. You still make a lot of fucking money. Just make a good game too. It's not gonna take that much extra. You already put the work into that game. It's just you.
I just pity the
it.
developers making those games.
It's so sad. It's so sad. All right, and on to number one. There it is.
Arkham Knight.
Yeah. The game's so terrible, we couldn't even play it. For 3 fucking months, this game was unplayable.
It released 3 times.
Yeah, released 3 times.
Still a fucking mess.
Twice of those 3 times, they had to stop releasing it because it was still fucked.
Is it now on permanent release?
I think it's released now completely. 3 months later, we could finally play the game. If you own a PC, that is. If you own a PS4 or an Xbox One, you just had to go with those bugs and crashes.
Well,
And
the PS4 didn't. That's one thing I have to say about the game. The Arkham Knight was fine on the console. The problem was with the PC, but it was such a big problem that the game is a mess.
It's just the game you couldn't play for 3 months.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we have to say. You don't need to say about the game's gameplay that was just exactly the same as all the other ones. It's not like they changed the engine at all. It's not like they changed the graphics, the characters, anything. It's literally just the fact that for 3 fucking months this game was released and unplayable.
I just wonder, how do the developers or the publishers say, okay, this game is fine, let's release it.
How does nobody sue them?
Yeah.
That's the one thing I want to know. If I fucking bought this game on pre-order and everything, and bought the super collector's edition, which they most definitely tried to sell, and for 3 fucking months I couldn't play the game, I'm just.
But I think the
imagining
people who
myself-
bought the game before they retracted it still had the game, but it was still broken.
No, you could. I think if you had the game, you can get into your game. I think they probably closed it off. If they didn't close it off,
No, I think they could still play it.
all right. In that
But
case,
it was still
they-
broken.
Yeah, you
it was
had
still unplayable.
unplayably laggy, unplayably buggy, unplayably crashy.
And I mean, even now with its final release, you still see many people complaining about
Pretty much.
game-breaking bugs.
Exactly.
It's a shame.
It's a shame.
On the main road.
Warner Brothers, you should be ashamed.
You should be ashamed. Fuck.
Judge from your tone, this will not be easy.
Arkham Knight was terrible. It was one of the worst releases in the history of gaming.
It was the worst, not one of the worst. It was the worst.
No,
We're
but
making
not
this-
in fucking the previous 13 months or whatever in the history of gaming. It was one of the worst releases.
It was the worst in all of history.
Okay, so now we're done with all the really depressing stuff.
We can go into. We can wait until next time for our top 10 best. I think we're
It's a
just
bit short on time.
a little bit short on time, but we can do our honorable mentions at least.
Herbalist.
But I think we should actually get to the top 10.
Well, we can do the honorable mentions, so we can do the top 10 next time.
Okay, fair enough.
All right,
Okay,
so these are the ones that didn't make the list,
Yeah.
but we still feel like we kind of want to mention them in some slight way. The first one we're going to go for, Broforce.
Yeah, which is it's just a fun game.
It's a fun co-op.
It released actually a while back, but now this year it was the official release, and it was actually made by a South African development company.
That's
which
the
is
only
really
reason
cool.
it's there.
Oh, it's a fun game.
It's a fun
It's
game
not
as
the
well.
best game, but it really is a fun.
It's definitely a
multiplayer
fun
game.
shoot 'em up, side-scrolling platform.
And I know a lot of people will agree with us. I mean,
Yeah, no,
people
it's
love
a,
the game.
It's a fun.
Next up is Dying Light, which you played.
Yes, I played this. If you liked the game, what was the one? Dead Island. If you enjoyed at least slightly Dead Island and thought the mechanics could be done better and the gameplay could be
If you
done
like
better,
the idea of Dead Island, but
and think think it could be done better, just go play Dying Light.
Yeah.
In that case, you'll find the exact zombie parkour explorer you were looking for. It does exactly what it wants to do.
yeah.
Pretty much.
And then we've got
Apatheon?
I always forget how do you pronounce it. I think it's Apotheon or something.
Apotheon?
I'm not sure.
Apath-
It's like a weird. I don't think it's Apatheon. Doesn't matter.
There's a little glitch. Hi! 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 Doing a little bit of a
That was a
Russian
cool
Mariette.
glitch.
Happens a lot, surprisingly, in this game. I'm up to version 1.8 here, and it happens a lot.
Wow.
I'm really sorry about the freezes, y'all.
Yowl.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Apatheon.
yeah. It's that one of the videos we scrapped from our early ones.
Yeah.
But I would certainly like to do it one day again, because that's a game that I really, really, really like. I have a very good spot in my heart for it. If you ever played the games Lost Vikings and thought that it might use a little bit more arcadey combat, and that's definitely something like that.
Was quite an original game. A very original game, actually.
I'm gonna definitely say that it's a game that completely plays you off on the side of a clay pot made in the Greek art, and you play as the Greek art, running around the high heavens of the Greek gods.
And the combat was also quite unique.
Most certainly, the combat was very skill based. Not a lot of.
It's not something that you see a lot in like a platformer.
Exactly. It's a very what would we say?
I mean, you see a lot
precision.
of like,
Precision.
you see it in like
gameplay.
games like Chivalry and a lot of other first-person RPGs and stuff like that. Even that maybe a few
There's
third-person.
precision combat,
Yeah. We have to block and time and
exactly. That's something that game does very good.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
hatred.
Yeah, this one I wanted to put on there just because I'm gonna piss people off for one thing, and the other thing is I didn't actually think it was that
It
terrible.
wasn't a bad game. The only thing is people build it like in their fucking heads before the release that it's going to be this really controversial game, and then it wasn't that.
It was pretty much like your mass shooter
Yeah.
simulator.
Yeah.
That's admittedly what the game is all about. It's about running around and murdering everybody.
Yeah.
Not just the cops, like in GTA, but everybody. And that's one thing that it really does, and you can't get away from that. However, you can't get away from the fact that it's actually a very solid fucking shooter
Yeah.
as well. It's solid gameplay, it's got solid mechanics. It's just a very retarded look on that man's face. For a few seconds. He just glitched out for a few seconds there. He just forgot his words. Alright, so Hatred, still a solid game underneath all that.
Then we've got Fallout Shelter.
Um,
I mean, everybody played Fallout Shelter. It's a
It's-
fun mobile game.
it's one of the mobile games that didn't want to try and sell you more than what it was. You
Yeah.
know, it was exactly
It
what
could
the-
have been better game, but
Yeah.
it was one of the few mobile games that I actually played.
It's just one of the mobile games I've played that didn't try and asshole me out of my cash.
Yeah.
You know, it said, you know, you can spend money, but you never felt like you had to.
And, yeah, you got like those lunch boxes. You got them quite often.
Quite often. Alright.
Next up is Infinity Factory.
Or Infinifactory.
Infinifactory.
Infinifactory, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Which is one of the more slightly smaller puzzle games I've played this year, but has some of the funniest comedy I've seen ever. For instance, immediately when you get into the game, you're met by a bunch of aliens that speak a language that you obviously don't understand, but they kind of just go along as if you do. and then just drop you in a hamster cage and give you 4 pellets to eat.
I still need to play that. It sounds pretty funny.
It's so funny. Like every time you finish a mission, they give you like a shitty reward for it. They just drop it in your cage. Just like, there you go, hamster.
Okay, let's maybe stop it there and then...
We can do like the beginner's guide. We can at least mention that.
Okay, yeah. The beginner's guide, which isn't really a game. It's more like a digital artwork.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's only like an hour and a half long, I think. But I would really say to play the game, it's really something different.
Yeah, actually, you don't play that game. You experience
it. You experience it. Yeah, it's like something you just experience. It's
definitely something to have a look out for.
Yeah.
It didn't make our top 10, unfortunately. If you want to buy...
Because the only reason is because it's not really a game.
It's not really a game, but otherwise it would have actually made it up there. I personally still enjoy the idea of it. You know, I certainly do find it intriguing to hear like one game developer saying what another game developer might be going.
You said like, okay, you didn't finish it.
No.
I would really recommend that you finish it because the tone of the game really changes at the end.
I'm still going to say somebody committed suicide there. Still going to say that. All right. But join us next time for our top 10 list, which is guaranteed to explode your brain out of the back of your skull.
And your ball sacks.
Through your ball sacks.
Back of your skulls.
Out of the back of your skulls. We're going to blow your ball sacks all the way through the back of your skull. Thank you for joining us on WeAmError from Crispy and Omega.
Enjoy.
Cheers then.